Oh, good. Welcome to Bellingham Voices. I'm Marie Marchand. Today's guests are Moonwater. She's the Executive Director of the Whatcom Dispute Resolution Center. And Iris Mounty-Gibson. She is the Development and Outreach Coordinator for the Center. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
I wanted to start out by saying that I've been a long-standing fan of the work that you do in the community through your center, and in particular, a fan of your leadership, Moonwater, as Executive Director.
Thank you.
So have you been there almost a decade?
A little more than a decade.
Oh.
It'll be 11 years in February.
Wow, wonderful.
Yes.
Through your leadership, I've noticed the center has grown in its capacity, not only with like the number of staff people, for example, but also the array of programming that you offer. So congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
And today, through the course of our conversation, we'll get into a lot of the different programs that you do offer. First, I wanted to start out with kind of the basics for the people at home who may not be familiar with the Dispute Resolution Center. So maybe you could start out, Moonwater, by telling us a little bit about what the center is and how long it's been around.
Sure. Thank you. Well, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. This is our 24th year of service, and our mission is to provide and promote constructive and collaborative approaches to conflict through mediation, training, facilitation, and community education. We've actually added some additional programs and to further expand that mission, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure. So we're here to serve the community and help community members manage and walk through conflict in creative and healthy ways to build their skills and to help reduce conflict, serve our courts, serve our schools, serve businesses and families as they figure out how to address and resolve disputes and conflict in healthy and safe ways.
Wonderful. What you're most well known for is the conflict resolution part, where people in the community come in and get assistance from you. So for example, there might be people at home who have a conflict with a neighbor, a family member, or at school or work. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what that process looks like from the time that a person calls, and maybe also what kinds of different conflicts people come to you with.
Sure, yeah. So what you're speaking of is a service that we offer called mediation, where basically we provide a neutral third party who serves as a facilitator of communication between people who might be in dispute. And that might be two people, or it might be a large group of individuals. We serve families, we serve businesses, we serve the courts. We divert cases out of small claims court. We work with Superior Court for parents who are going through disillusion or need to develop parenting plans. We work with neighbors around barking dog issues or property lines or trees that have fallen. We work with workplaces if there's employee conflict. We even work with banks and homeowners through a program with the Department of Commerce to help homeowners address issues of foreclosure. So folks access our services in different ways. You can simply call us, you can email us, you can stop by the center. We might get a referral from the court or a self-referral. And folks can talk with a case manager at no cost, and it's confidential, to essentially assess whether or not mediation makes the most sense to pursue. And if it does, then on your behalf, we would contact the other person in that dispute, reach out to them and explore whether or not they think mediation would be a good fit. And if all parties are in agreement, we'll invite you to the center and assign you to a mediator and set up a time for you to talk through your dispute and essentially arrive at an agreement that's mutually beneficial and that's of your that's based on your own decision. So the mediator isn't there to decide the outcome for parties, but rather there to help facilitate that conversation and create a space for people to resolve their own disputes in that confidential setting.
I've used that service before and I found it very helpful, so I'm a big advocate of that over the court system. I mean, not that the court system it doesn't serve its purpose, but you can complement the court system or be an alternative, is that right?
Yes, we work in partnership with the court. So as I mentioned, we get referrals from the courts, from Juvenile District, Superior Court, and we're there to help be an alternative to folks who perhaps want to use a more amicable and collaborative process for resolving their disputes. But certainly at times going to court and having a judge make a determination does make the most sense for individuals at times. And our case managers will help people think that through and decide what process makes the most sense given the dispute that they're experiencing.
That's wonderful.
So some folks bring their attorneys and involve their legal representation in the mediation process. process. Some folks are choosing to use us because they don't want to engage attorneys and want to handle things individually. And some folks come to us, reach agreement on certain components of their dispute, and then bring the rest of that dispute to a court. So there's a lot of different ways that we work with the courts and work with individuals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. One of the ways that Small Claims Court and that we work so closely is that every Thursday when the judge reads the docket for Small Claims Court and folks arrived for their court date, they're given the option right then and there to step into another room and mediate. And Judge Grant and the other judges that we work with have been phenomenal partners in encouraging folks to participate in mediation. You're sitting there in court with the cameras on you. Know that, especially if you're a business, that the court process is not going to be confidential. You're going to have to sit there for several hours. So why not use that time constructively? And so folks come into another room, and our volunteer mediators are able to mediate right there on site at the courthouse. And if mediation doesn't work, then folks can go back to court that day. And if it does, then they've saved themselves money. They've often come up with a more creative solution that's a win-win for both parties. And they've done so in a confidential and more amicable way. And through that process, through our small claims mediation program, we've been able to, last year, mediate successfully 49% of the court docket. And so that's a huge savings for our court system, a ton of time saved, a ton of energy, and probably a lot better solutions have come from that.
Oh my goodness, that's an impressive statistic for sure. Iris, part of your job is writing grants and fund development and fundraising events. And so I wanted to ask you to talk about your big event that's coming up, the Whatcom Peace Builders Award.
Oh, fabulous. Our Peace Builder Awards Gala is an event like no other in the community. So often nonprofits look inward and have an event where they're talking about what they do. And we look outward and invite the community to share in celebrating peace building across Whatcom County. So community members come together and write nominations throughout the year when they see a project or an individual or a group who's working congruently with our mission to provide and promote constructive, collaborative approaches to conflict. So whether it's maybe an interesting collaboration between two businesses like Hammerhead Coffee Roasting and Maniac Coffee Roasting sharing one space, or whether it's someone like Noemi Bond, the Holocaust survivor who is promoted hope and healing throughout her entire life. We receive those nominations and go through them and select recipients. And so in the past 14 years, this will be our 14th Peace Builder Awards, we've honored over 150 individuals and groups and projects everywhere from young folks in schools to folks who are retired and just working on exciting projects to businesses in the community. And so the event really is a celebration of peace building across Whatcom County, and also an opportunity for us to share in a really intimate way what we're doing and why it's so important for everyone in our community to be a part of peace building.
Mm-hmm. It's a super fun celebration. I've been there multiple times.
Oh, good.
Give us an example from this year's winners, maybe one or two people or groups.
Oh, excellent. We have 8 recipients this year, and it's so hard to pick just a few of them to highlight right now. So I encourage folks to check out our website to see the whole list or attend the event. But one of them is the Lummi Nation, who, and through the process of creating a task force in 2014, has really transformed their entire justice system to have sentencing that makes more sense and is more fair, to hold peacemaking circles from everywhere from youth to adults, to help reduce harm and build trust among community members. So an entire, just really looking at their holistic justice system and looking 7 generations ahead to say, how do we want to help heal harm when it happens in our community? Another one is Jeff McKenna and the Mad Hope program at Bellingham High School, which is helping to empower young people to have the skills to address and work to address suicide as it occurs, and both when they see signs of fellow youth who are depressed or having issues to help them reach out to one another. Let's see, a third one. Been really excited about the Bellingham flag recently. I know lots of folks have seen it around town. And Brad Lockhart really brought a lot of creativity and collaboration to that project, bringing parts of our history and parts of our community together to create a visual identity that is compelling, creative, and collaborative.
He gave a presentation to the City Council recently, and everybody was very impressed.
Yeah.
How can people get tickets for the event?
We still have tickets left. The event is November 18th at 5:30 at BTC Settlemyre Hall, and you can purchase tickets online at whatcomdrc.org. You can also give us a call at 676-0122 to purchase tickets. We'd love to have you. Folks can stop by the center. We have full and half table sponsorships available, so if there's businesses in the community or individuals who are interested in bringing a group to the event, we have those opportunities as well. There's a silent auction, dessert dash, a wine wall. It's a very festive event, and we're most looking forward to being able to celebrate our award recipients, not only the Peace Builder Award recipients, but our 5 Youth Peaceful Poetry Contest recipients, and have them read their poems for the community as well.
Oh, well, wonderful. I hope it goes well for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Moonwater, in terms of all the different workshops that you offer, I was noticing the past few years that the Understanding Conflict workshop is extremely popular because there's flyers everywhere,
Yes.
and I've heard a lot of good things about it. Tell us what that entails.
So that's a 6-hour workshop. We offer it quarterly. It's broken out into 2 sessions, and it's really an opportunity for anyone in the community, whether you're attracted to the training for your own individual use in your family or your community, or whether or not it's something that you want to bring back to the workplace. It's an opportunity to explore the root of conflict, our physiological responses to conflict, a cycle of stress and how that impacts our ability to communicate with one another. Folks have the opportunity to explore different conflict strategies and assertive speaking and active listening skills, and get introduced to a framework for how to approach conflict in a constructive way. So it's an incredibly valuable training. We try to keep the cost really affordable so it's an accessible training, and we invite all community members to come take that class and build their skills and comfort with difficult conversations and in navigating conflict in a healthy and constructive way.
One of the other ones I noticed was the Exploring Equity and Cultural Humility.
Yes.
And it made me think of our recent comp plan discussions, the comprehensive plan with the City Council. And that plan is a framework for determining how the future of Bellingham will develop. And so a lot of City Council members were concerned about methodically inserting the ideas of equity and social justice into the plan. I mean, even with parks, for example, how do we make our park distribution equitable? So that was really important to them this past few months, and it's been a really intensive process. So equity's been on everybody's mind around here. So I was hoping you could define that word for us and then talk about the workshop a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. So the workshop operates on the premise of a definition of equity being something that ensures access and reduces barriers for full participation and full engagement for groups of people. And so something that the center has recognized is that equity or inequity can often lead to conflict, and there's value in us being more intentional with what a common definition is and where and how that can show up in how we engage with one another, whether it's our large systems of institutional systems or daily conversations and opportunities that we might be exploring with one another. So the class is a fantastic opportunity to explore those concepts and think about how they affect each of us individually. So it's a chance to build some personal awareness, get comfortable with some language, explore together the impact of isms that we often encounter, to discuss what it means to be inclusive, what it means to experience the intersection of our personal culture and our organizational cultures. So it's really a chance for exploration of concepts and for that to happen in a safe and facilitated environment. We'll be offering it for the first time in December. We'll be offering it quarterly after after that. And I think we each have a commitment in our community to be stewards of a healthy community, and keeping that conversation alive and exploring and integrating concepts of equity and inclusion is something that's going to help strengthen that fabric. So the more comfortable we become with those conversations, the healthier our community is going to be. So we're really excited to kind of step into that conversation through that skill building opportunity. So we hope people will join us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And who is that going to be taught by?
Masa Delara, and she has been a certified instructor with REACH, which is a national nonprofit. And so this training that she's bringing here to us is fantastic. We had the opportunity as an organization to participate in the workshop itself before we're offering it publicly, and I got so much out of it personally, so I'm excited for community members to be able to access it as well.
Great.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the other popular, very popular training that you offer is the basic mediation
Yes.
training. And I remember that from 2010. I took that, and it's just a very intensive 40 hours within a week or two, and a lot of tools are learned within a short amount of time. How often is that offered?
We offer that twice a year. We just completed our fall session. We'll offer it again next spring and again the following fall. I have the opportunity and pleasure to be the primary instructor for that course, and then I bring in other mediators and trainers so participants can hear from a variety of voices. And the class itself, as you've experienced, is really a combination of theory and practice, so it is an intensive all-in experience for people who are both interested in becoming certified mediators. That's the first step, but it's also incredibly helpful for people who want to get exposed to a framework for creative problem solving, whether or not they want to apply that formally or informally. So I highly recommend the course. I love teaching it, and it's often a transformative opportunity for folks.
It was for me, and I didn't choose to be a certified mediator after that, but I worked in the nonprofit field. So for example, being the director of a homeless shelter, it was super helpful in when I had to sit down with grievances with clients and whatnot. So I highly recommend that.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, Iris. Okay, so you guys don't do all of this alone in terms of the WDRC. You've got a lot of partners. So with your youth programs, for example, you have a lot of different maybe organizations or corporations that co-sponsor that program. So maybe you could talk about your different partners.
Yes, and maybe I could share just briefly about the youth program and what it is for folks who aren't aware.
Wonderful.
So our youth program not only goes out into the schools, but into with our juvenile justice system, equips students, equips youth with skills to resolve conflict, assertively communicate, set boundaries, and create healthy relationships. And so for little or no cost, we're working with schools across Whatcom County, providing workshops, both gender specific, small group, large group. We can really tailor our workshops to meet the unique classroom needs. And then we're also working with the juvenile courts as to help provide an opportunity for kids who are struggling with conflict or finding themselves challenged in communication to come and build some of those skills as well. And another area that's relatively new for the center and is very exciting is our restorative justice program. And so we're working primarily with the Bellingham School District right now, but out in some schools across Whatcom County to help not only work with youth who are in conflict, but also help the teachers and counselors and educators build skills in holding restorative circles and restorative practices. And in the past 5 years, we've been really excited to work with the Bellingham School District, and they recently shared that their work towards a more restorative discipline model has resulted in a 70% reduction in out-of-school suspensions for kids in the Bellingham School District. And so our youth program is doing wonderful work. We just have 2 folks in there. Emily is out working in the schools almost every day, and our referrals and the need for our workshops is growing every year. Last year, in 2015, we served 900 youth, and I believe the last school year it was closer to 2,000. And so every year, more and more teachers are finding out about this free resource. More and more schools are wanting to integrate healthy youth programs into their either health curriculum or other curriculum. And so this is an area where we need to continue to raise funds to ensure that youth have access to these services. And so along with our Peace Builder Awards Gala, we do a lot of grant writing for our youth program and have some wonderful community partnership. Help remind me of some other community support partners.
We receive some wonderful support from the Whatcom Family and Community Network, from the Bellingham School District and other school districts throughout the county, through local foundations, as well as general contributions. So a wide variety of community members and entities have come forward to help support the program, but we most certainly need additional support to be able to meet the rising demand, and an investment in our youth is an investment in the long-term health of our community. And so we are so proud to be able to bring these workshops and experiences into our schools and work with young people. And we very much want to continue engaging with the community to build more support so we can keep up with the need and be responsive.
About half of our overall budget comes from community support through foundations, events, and individual contributions. And so we encourage folks, if they're interested in helping support what we do and investing in our mission, they can join us for one of our annual events. We have a Compete for the Cause series, so in April you could come out and play bocce. In September, you could come out and run just 0.62 miles in our Wander to Wander 1K, or play cribbage in our cribbage tournament that we co-host with Boundary Bay, and in November, joining us for our Peace Builder Awards Gala. And so there's a number of events that folks can come out and support, and they can also look to supporting us through our Giving Circle, which on our website you can find different levels and see what those different levels mean to us. So there's a number of different ways that folks can invest in making our community more peaceful.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. As we wrap up, I wanted to see, do you want to talk about the visitation program?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that opportunity. It's our newest program, and so effective January, the Dispute Resolution Center took over the court contract that Catholic Community Services had wonderfully managed for over 30 years. And so we are now the sole nonprofit provider in Whatcom County for supervised visitation. So essentially, anytime parents have gone through some separation and the court determines that in order to be able to see their child, there needs to be some oversight for those moments of interaction, those families and individuals can engage the Dispute Resolution Center, and we can provide a safe space for parents and children to stay connected. So this is such an incredibly important service that we're pleased to be able to offer to the community, and we want to be able to serve our families to the best of our ability. And so right now, we are able to provide weekly visitation for parents and for their kids so they can stay connected. Mm-hmm. And we're looking for community support to help bolster our ability to provide more opportunities for parents and children to stay connected. So right now there's some real limits to the amount of time we're able to offer hour-long visits on a weekly basis. And sometimes the court has said that parents can access additional time, and we simply don't have the capacity right now to be able to offer longer visits or more frequent visits. And so we're working towards building our program capacity so we can meet that need and serve parents and children even more effectively. So we certainly invite the community, if they're interested in getting involved in the center, whether it's taking a training with us, whether it's attending one of our events, whether it's volunteering to be a supervisor with the visitation program, whether it's becoming certified as a mediator to turn around and be able to support fellow community members through those disputes. There's a lot of different ways to get involved in peace building, as Iris spoke to, and this is a community endeavor and a community effort, and I think that we all at times have felt that sense of responsibility accountability for ourselves of how can we navigate through conflict in a more creative and healthy way, or how can I contribute to a more civil dialogue in a public meeting that I might be participating in, or how can I support my neighbors who I've noticed have some tension building between them. There's a lot of different ways we can lean in, and I think the center is here to help people lean in whichever way they need, whether it's through that direct support or whether it's through building some skills so that they can be a supporter for community conflict. So that's what we're here to do, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity to help spread the word about the center. We'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary next year, and there will be increasing ways for community members to help support the Dispute Resolution Center.
Wow, 25 years.
Yes,
That'll
pretty
be a
phenomenal.
fun celebration. I have one last question, and it's just a casual question that I ask everybody, and I forgot to cue you up about it. So you're totally spontaneous
Okay.
on this one. But what's your favorite thing to do in Bellingham?
Okay.
My favorite thing to
great
do in
question.
Bellingham, oh my goodness. I mean, the thing that immediately comes to mind was eating donuts, because we live right, we live and work. We work right above Rocket Donuts. The food here in Bellingham, and then the outdoors. I mean, I love going hiking. I have to say, donuts and hiking, does that go together? That's my answer.
Oh boy, I'm coming up this September on 20 years of living in Bellingham, and I've lived in almost every neighborhood. I went to school here. I went to public school here, and I've worked in so many different areas of Whatcom County. I love this place, and I think my favorite thing to do, especially on a weekend starting tomorrow, is to step out my front door and just wander either through town, wander up to Cornwall Park and visit the park, or around the school. It's such an easily walkable, bikeable place to live, and wonderful people to interact with.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for joining us for Bellingham Voices. And please join us next time. Take care.